What have we just watched? Manchester City enter the Dragon or the Bernabeu and emerge as winners. Xabi Alonso not so fast, my friend. Arsenal Football Club storm back to winning ways in Bruges. A night of joy and bangers and expunging the existence of last weekend's Villa wobble. We couldn't have asked for more, said Arne Slot, after a Mo Salah-less Liverpool lolloped and needed a penalty so soft against Inter to survive. You could, Arne, you could ask for more, but sometimes less is more. And we are not here alone to break it all down and make it make sense. It's a joy to welcome back that footballing Lion King, the Duke of Boston, from your Athletic. Welcome back. It's the iconic Mr. James Horncastle.
Great to be with you. Great to be back in Europe after a lovely few days in the US with you guys.
What was that other than raiding the club shop and buying every piece of Boston merch that you could get the Horncastle hands on? What was the highlight of your Boston séjour?
There was a couple. One was not getting punched celebrating Leeds goals in a Liverpool bar.
Yes. By the way, that was insane. Go on. We'll get back to that in a minute. Yes. And number two.
And the other was I went to see I went to that crazy Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum where there was the biggest heist in art history until the Louvre thing happened a few weeks ago. And yeah, just saw some of the frames where these lost pieces of art used to hang. That was great. So it was quite a contrast going from there to, what was it, the Rising Phoenix?
the Phoenix Landing. I will say it was very easy to watch you and Rory Smith go and case out the scene of a crime and fancy your chances next time round. The empty frame, a former treasure, now stolen. A very beautiful metaphor, arguably, for the Champions League group stage this season. But I do want to say, Phoenix Landing, we didn't talk about this. We're in a packed bar, football bar. Horncastle is proper football. Horncastle goes to football. He knows the English ways. Furthermore, he knows the Italian ways. He knows how to, handle the ultras. Goes into Phoenix Landing, packed with Liverpool fans, and man is just like losing his mind whenever Leeds score, genuinely as if he'd never been in a football setting. We were this close to having James go from, oh my God, there's James Horncastle, famous football journalist, to I am going to plant my fist in Horncastle's mouth and whoever that little bull bastard is with him. We almost both got it, man. Me by association. I don't know what came over you, but it was so naive and beautiful. I loved it, even as I hated it.
I just wanted one of those Goodwill Hunting moments where, Goodwill Hunting gets punched in the mouth. And so, but look, in the end, aside from when Liverpool went 3-2 up and a couple of fans sort of turned to me, middle fingers, flipped me the bird.
Yeah,
it was all very healthy.
I almost punch you in the mouth myself just to get it over and done with. But this is our big match breakdown live. How'd you like them apples, James? On YouTube, presented by Football Manager 2026. Football Manager 26 is live across platforms. Purchase now to define your managerial destiny. And I'm talking to you, Xabi Alonso. And we are not here alone. You, GFOPs, are a massive part of the show. Come on up. Come and talk to us about what we saw tonight. The World Cup, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about life. Whatever you want to talk to us about, come and ask your question. Because the football was a little bit different today. Here's how. Just scan the QR code in the top left of your screen. Take you to a Zoom with our producer, Tony, a gorgeous human being. He'll get you set up to ask you a question. Come and be with us. It's audio only. Don't be afraid. And if you can't wait, slap your question or comment in the chat. Like at Daryl Lianieri 6560 says, so where will Xabi Alonso go next? Probably to get a little cardboard box, I should imagine, and put his little sandwiches and other lunchbox tchotchkes in there. Put the thumbs up in the old like, subscribe to the channel, come and be with us. But let's get into it, to the big game tonight. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2, an epic rumble between two forces. A bit like De Niro and Pacino playing in Heat, or Torrance Toros and East Compton Clovers. You know what I mean. If the De Niro character, Xabi Alonso, in this case, had his future up for grabs, just 2 wins in his last 7. Poor handsome Xabi, who says you can have it all. Wandering around Madrid, a little bit like Ned Stark in King's Landing. Rumours his future rested on a result against Manchester City. Narrator's voice, he didn't get it. Reports of a dressing room rift abound. Lost at the weekend limply against Celta Vigo. His pre-match press conference consisted mostly of him having to deadbat suggestions of who could replace him, which is never a good stage to be in. Pep Guardiola, by the way, I need to ask you about this, James, asked if he had a message of support for Alonso ahead of the game. He decided to tell reporters, and James, help me here, these are Guardiola's exact words, he should pee on his own. I won't pee for him. You'll like that headline, right? What was that, James? Is it just Pep going full on urologist, or is it better in the native Spanish?
Well, I thought it was the sort of advice you give to someone who has sort of been walking on the beach and stepped on a jellyfish, and you know, you need to urinate on yourself. But no, apparently it's just go with your own ideas. Don't let anybody
go with your own flow.
Yeah, go with your own flow. Exactly. I think that is the best possible interpretation. So yeah.
Knowing Pepe actually probably meant it literally. That is probably what he was trying to say. It was a very wonderful moment. It was a self-acknowledged wonderful moment. I mean, Pep was coiled for this one because Real Madrid have so often had Pep's number. And for Madrid, Kylian Mbappe not in the starting lineup. Leg muscular injury. So Madrid were denied the man who scored the hat-trick in that 6-3 knockout round win on aggregate last season. They were denied also, all of us, a trailer for the World Cup clash between France and Norway in the group stage opening round, but it mattered not. Real Madrid honestly flew at City. Historians will forget this from the off, trying to use their pace, their guile to mine the space in behind. There was lots of it. Vinicius, I think, thought he'd win a penalty within 80 seconds. It was VAR'd off. A free kick instead, and then Dink Donnarumma just wrong side of the post early on. It was so unbelievably wide open, and then Carreras bullied Bernardo off the ball, switch of play. Rodrigo fed. Rodrigo's become almost an albatross more than an elite footballer. Had not scored for 32 games. A meme, a joke, but not in this moment. Redemption, I love it. Flew past Nico O'Reilly, pulled back his barren foot, and then drove past a little bit through Donnarumma. This is a man, James, who just loves scoring against City. I think it's his 5th goal against them. Wishes he could play Manchester City every week.
Yeah, it's almost just like they find him down the back of the sofa for these games. It's like, oh, where's Rodrigo gone? Because we haven't seen him in 9 months. Oh, here he is, and we're playing Man City. And lo and behold, he scores. I'm slightly pleased for him because in that environment at Real Madrid, to go that long without scoring, you know, there was all this speculation about his future in the summer. He didn't move. They keep signing attacking players, and then more attacking players, and then more attacking players. And so, you know, I'm thrilled for little Rodrigo. He seems to be the kind of the star that shines the least for Real Madrid. But
that your forthcoming children's book, The Little Star That Shine the Least, I think it could do happy feet numbers. I mean, really, he's essentially Real Madrid's Tierno Barry, is what you're saying.
Yeah, although Tierno scored recently, no?
And so did Rodrigo. God bless both of them. Unconstipated no more. City had so much of the ball. They'd done so little to it to that moment. Pep had talked P-game. He said last season, for many reasons, we were not able to compete against Real Madrid. And it felt in that moment as if City were going to be absolutely shell-shocked in this one. But they got themselves back into the game in the most unexpected fashion. Slop caused by a Cherky cross. Vardiol, big boy header. Courtois muffed the save, which spilled out to young Nico O'Reilly angling at home. And then within 8 minutes, Haaland got in front of Rudiger. I mean, Rudiger, just, God, what a remarkable, almost like a surrealist comedian. Those of you who are deep into your surrealist comedies, almost like the Andy Kaufman of football. Like you'd watch Andy Kaufman bits, and you'd be like, are they funny? Are they not funny? Is he doing it intentionally? Is he in on the joke? Is he the joke? Is he insane? That's how I feel when I watch Rudiger, James. I mean, he was City man of the match in this one. Haaland did that stop-start thing, which initiated the collision. A little bit of cuddling on the way down. Was that just Rudigering? Did you think that was a penalty, James?
I think it was a penalty, certainly more of a penalty than the Florian Wirtz, Alessandro Bastoni one in the Inter Liverpool game the night before. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Rudiger had been watching the Miami Dolphins' sort of resurgence because they played at the Bernabeu, 10 days ago or something like that. So, maybe this was his tryout for the defensive
cornerback. Yeah,
Miami
defensive back. Just great cover 2 situation. It was it was Rudegering. Haaland stepped up, thrashed home, breaking a barren streak by his standards. I think he just had 1 goal in 5 games before this one, but what an incredible turnaround. By the way, Haaland, 50th start in the Champions League, the elite club tournament in the world, in which he's now scored an astronomical 51 goals in that time. What can be said about him that's not already been said, other than young fans watching? Drink raw milk, kids. That's what I tell you. City are now, and you bow really tenacious. This is tenacious. I got to say this. You understand this more than I do. It takes some mental perseverance to not fall apart against the aura of Real Madrid when they're on the front foot and the Bernabeu's crackling and they're feeling a bit dangerous there.
Yeah, that is one of the worst places to go to. I mean, they call it the dentist chair, and you just sat there for 90 minutes, sort of under the lights, whilst you hear these drills kind of coming at you. And, you don't even have time to sort of, get up, rinse your mouth out and, spit that out. It's just relentless. And I felt that in the first 15, 20 minutes, Rog, because City, the thing was, they couldn't really string a pass together. Like, poor Bernardo Silva was sort of bouncing around, sort of trying to come short, pick up the ball, getting knocked off the ball, losing the ball. So they came through that period and then really, really began to assert themselves. And I suppose to go back to your Heat analogy, as much as Pep had given that bit of advice to Xabi Alonso, the Al Pacino face came on. He's like, I will not hesitate to take you out. And take him out, he did.
I'm really, unbelievably impressed with this achievement from a mental perspective. The tenacity, the perseverance, the belief. It could have been 3 for City on the streak at half-time from a Real free kick in the City box. Donnarumma, quick release. O'Reilly flew down the left, slapped across to a streaking Haaland. I just love watching Haaland charge forward from the halfway line. So watching an enormous NBA centre try and keep up with play and transition. Courtois parried not once but twice. The follow-up from Cherokee, dizzying too. It was a 2-1 City at halftime. By the way, only the second time in Real Madrid's long and winding road of a history that they'd scored first, but re-entered the halftime locker room behind. Poor Xabi Alonso. We knew he was on the brink. Second half, Real Madrid push for the equaliser, really push for their dignity. Jude Bellingham chipped one just wide of the mark. Courtois sprightly when City countered, mostly in transition at will. I'm not going to lie. There were chances there, chances not taken, an acrobatic Vinny attempt, an Endrick bopped header skimming the bar. But for all the frenzy, and we talked about this last time a little bit, but I felt it all the more today. For all the frenzy, for all the epic gesturing to games past, for all the history swilling around the stadium, there was just like an odd neutral nature to it. I don't know if it's the format of this tournament that made this almost an epic rumble in name only. The echoes past were there, but it felt more like a Splendor, like a methadone, a dietetic chocolate. Felt like a synthetic reality that ultimately the jeopardy just was not there.
Yeah, this is Real Madrid, Man City, but it's not Real Madrid, Man City. It's very much the kind of the tab clear of Man City, Real Madrid. You can see right through it. It doesn't taste the same. And, I think this is the problem with the format, because you do get more big games more often, although it feels like you only get 2 big games a night. I felt we were promised 8. Instead, you have games like Juventus Paphos. And then you've got the duration of it. Those extra 2 games, you can say it's you're only going from 6 to 8, but time is relative, and that stretch all the way into the end of January, it's almost like, oh yeah, I'll put off my tax return until next week, and then next week comes around, you're like, I'll do it another week, and just things catch up with you. But yeah, it's hard to, even into Liverpool last night. That was
We're getting there. I think you've just accidentally outed yourself as a tax evader, James, and you're blaming it on the football. I will say, like, there is a fascinating reality, and I don't know how you feel, listeners, about this. But modern football, more and more in this social media cycle, in which we love outrage and we just love reacting to the merest gestures of things. This tournament feels angled towards that rather than people who watch the football, for the football. And it feels like a very modern evolution. It gives us more to scream about, more to get excited about going in, higher stakes, higher everything. City, Juventus, guaranteed several times a season. But it's just the actual reality, the tactical matchup, the actual football, the quality of, which ultimately, call me old-fashioned, that's what I care about. I just say classic De Niro heat. You do what you do what I got to do. And now that we've been face to face, if I'm there and I got to put you away, I won't like it. I don't know what I just said either, but I'll tell you who doesn't like it. Xabi Alonso, 2 wins in 8 now. And we know Real Madrid is where there's smoke, there's inferno place. Just loser of this game, loser of many games, loser at the locker room. I guess I'm saying, is this real? This man who is so, the fight to get him was so competitive. He's so coveted. He's such a suave genius. And now, is he just going to become a great manager at West Ham next season, James?
Or Liverpool? I mean, it just goes to show how difficult this job is, because someone who showed so much promise at Bayer Leverkusen, an undefeated season, let's not forget. Somebody who stopped Bayern's run of 10 league titles in a row without the resources of a super club. He's clearly very gifted. I think everyone knew he was gifted before he went into coaching. But coaching Real Madrid is like no other job. It's not even about coaching Real Madrid. It's about managing Real Madrid. And I did see Thierry Henry on CBS earlier today, and he put it exactly like that. He needs to coach less and manage more. And that's what his predecessor, Carlo Ancelotti, was just a complete master at.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some advice from me, Xabi, pee on your own. You were told we won't pee for you. God, if you can't work it out from that, I don't know what the story is. At Daniel Horton 826 in the chat says Pep's autobiography, better go crazy. Yes, it's called I Urologist, Daniel. It's going to be a page turner. At Talexi Al-Stad in the chat says Xabi at Liverpool ... God, James, just fantasy fiction with me. That would be an incredible revenge moment, wouldn't it, for him to come and take Liverpool, resurrect them, slaughter Real Madrid later in the Champions League. I love football.
Yeah, it would be a remarkable turnaround. I mean, you talked about how long Real Madrid courted Xabi Alonso, and the expectation was that Liverpool would hire him when they hired Arne Slot, and instead it was Xabi Alonso saying, no, 1 more year, let me work on my ideas a little bit more by Leverkusen. But yeah, I would imagine that. I think Real Madrid is one of those clubs where even if it goes really bad for you, it doesn't end your career. People just say, well, that's Real Madrid. That's ultimately. And he's got a tough job beyond managing Florentino and managing upstairs. You have got a team that is in transition. Yes, they've got Mbappe. Yes, they've got Jude Bellingham. But I think the core of that team, your Toni Krooses, your Luka Modric's, even your Casemiro's, like that 3 in midfield, but particularly Modric and Kroos moving on, I think is not to be underestimated as a challenge to kind of make Real Madrid a Champions League contender again.
God bless. The rumours, crazy rumour mill, the tabloid rumours are predicting that Jurgen Klopp would be the next Real Madrid manager, which genuinely I couldn't imagine for the life of me. But let's just play this out. Jurgen Klopp at Real Madrid, Xabi Alonso at Liverpool. It's exquisite. It is an utterly exquisite. It's like that old terrible show, Wife Swap. It's just unbelievably magnificent in every regard, and I would be so here for it. Talking about magnificent tonight, Arsenal fans, joy, wonder, magnificence, potency. Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3. Mikel Arteta really girding his loins ahead of this one. He said he's fearful that Arsenal's captain Ahab obsession, those are my words, not his, over silverware could be undermined by, quote, these are his words, a dangerous circle of mounting injuries, and really talked about the insanity of the fixture pileup, which is true. Declan Rice didn't travel to Belgium because of illness. Leandro Trossard, Saliba, again unavailable. The defenders Mosquera and Gabriel not likely to return until 2026. And
it's not far away. 2026 isn't far away now.
I know. As I said that, I'm like, wow, I sound like I'm talking about this deep, distant future. By the way, we'll all be just flying cars in the sky by the time they come back and go on little rocket packs around the world. Said Kai Havertz still needs time, so on and so on. Calafiori getting a first half Raposo on the bench. Arsenal started a back four off. Stay with me here. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Nkapie, eternal Jim Tan laundry enthusiast Ben White, and blew me down. Christian Norgard, makeshift centre-back, Danish version of a bit of cardboard that you wedge under a wobbly table leg in a restaurant. But who needs to worry when you got the kind of footballing bravado that reborn Noni Madueke can conjure? 25th minute in the football manager decision of the game, unleashing him from the start. I love watching Noni Madueke's redemption. Jem picked up the ball just inside Bruges half, shrugged off defender Joaquin Seyss like he was slipping out of some kind of Belgian overcoat, and launched an absolute howitzer from way downtown, as they used to say on the NBA, to give Arsenal the lead. A 0.02 XG on that goal, Horny. When the ball is still rising with steam, when it hits the net, it's one of the most satisfying sights in football.
Yeah, you almost just want to see it keep going. Like, just see it burst through the net, take out several people in the stands, and just go into near-Earth orbit. You know, that's...
I mean, other than when the ball hits the underside of the bar and goes in, which is its own peculiar delight, just that trajectory and velocity. That's why we watch Hammers.
No, it is indeed. And to be honest, I was delighted to see this second string Arsenal side. You know, you mentioned Noni Madueke. I mean, remember the say no to Noni hashtag, which like seemed to be the most entitled thing by Arsenal fans. Just like, nah, we don't fancy that. And yet here he is, just making a away day in the Champions League look very easy.
He did. Scored again. I think, was it Zubimendi lifted a perfect ball, like a lob wedge to a shockingly wide open Madueke, headed it in for his brace. And Mana scored 3 times for Arsenal, all of them in the Champions League. If Noni Madueke does not prove the eternal life truth to us, I don't know who does, James. One of the things I love most about football, it makes a fool out of all of us, especially Arsenal fans.
Yeah, especially people piling on social media. No, it's. I hope today Noni Madueke is trending on social media for different reasons than he was in the summer. And then there's Gabby Martinelli as well. You know,
I know another guy that just decided, you know what, I'm going to test Arsenal social media's team's use of emojis. I mean, they went if memory says, exploding head. Was it heart eyes? Also in there, Gabby just blasted, master blaster, outside the box, top corner, 3-0 Arsenal. Gabby, you have to call him much maligned Gabby Martinelli now, but also news just in, the first Arsenal player ever to score in 5 straight Champions League games. He's quite good, James.
Yeah, I mean, this is someone who Carlo Ancelotti keeps picking for Brazil. And they're not really short of wide players, those Brazilians. So, you know, I think that's a great show of esteem in Gabby Martinelli. And look, he's proved himself to be, I mean, he started tonight, but he proved himself to be a very valuable sub. I was at the Emirates when Man City played Arsenal, and he came off the bench and got the equaliser in what could be a pretty crucial point. It's one of the 2 points that is keeping Arsenal ahead of Man City in the Premier League right now.
At Gage Wheeler 3561 in the chat says Noni Madueke plays every single game as if he's playing against all of Wolverhampton. Chef's kiss. This also, Arsenal have only allowed a single Champions League goal all tournament. It was Bayern, I think, popped it past them. They're the only team out of 36 who played 6-1-6. James, are we too early to start thinking about how this is going to turn out should Arsenal fans amongst us start unboxing that thing called hope again?
Look, I think there's plenty of cause to be excited. I mean, we've spoken about how in the last 2 seasons, they've always improved in the Champions League, quarterfinal, semi-final. You know, they're trending towards a final with Noni Madueke. So I'd be encouraged. Of course, we don't know what it's going to be like in March and April if they've got an injury pile up. If, for example, I mean, City are breathing down their necks at the moment. If they're really in the grips of a title race, what means more in those moments? I don't think it's a case of choosing Premier League or Champions League, but I think this Arsenal team can go all the way in every competition this year.
God bless. That's not called pandering to you Arsenal fans. It's life truth. Newcastle drew at Leverkusen 2-2. Anthony Gordon, God bless, sticking, committing to the headband bit. The winner that he thought he'd scored, it did make me wonder, James, wouldn't it be lovely if he just has the World Cup of World Cups and everyone in England's going to start wearing that Anthony Gordon headband look World Cup summer? You'd look very good in it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the 2025 variation of the David Beckham Alice band, which I know some journalistic colleagues who are older than me. When I first became a reporter, I remember going in and seeing guys who were in their 40s and 50s at the time wearing an Alice band because David Beckham wore one.
I know exactly who you mean as well. I know exactly who you mean. Just like, yeah, in the press box, typing away. Got to keep, the Alice band's in place, doing work. God bless. A little bit, but God bless Anthony Gordon's team. Like, you've got to make your own statement. You got to find your own way. The Alice band was thin, says Anthony Gordon. I'm going to go thick. I do love Anthony Gordon, star of the Men in Blazers' first Everton live show in New York City. I was in Washington, D.C., where he came on stage. The crowd went mad, started to chant his song. He leant into the microphone and goes, "Thank you. I'm never going to leave you." And then he signed for Newcastle 3 weeks later. You're welcome, Newcastle. Newcastle actually looked sluggish, NyQuil drunk in the first half, turned it on. Second half dominated. Then at the dying embers, Alejandro Grimaldo scored his 9th goal of the season from left wing back, a draw, which sees both teams firmly in the playoff places for knockout rounds. Bring on the Tyne and Weir derby. But to yesterday, you've already mentioned it. Let's get into Milan 1. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Inter Milan fans, I wish that's the scoreline cut from somebody's dreams. This guy, Inter Milan 0, Liverpool 1, 88th minute. Dominic Szoboszlai penalty, such a bloody soft decision. We'll get to that. Liverpool fans, I just say, well, let me ask you, Liverpool fans, if that penalty had been given against you, how would you feel? But it was almost a mercy gift to deliver a much-needed win for Arne Slot and his team. First loss at home for a quite meek, disappointing Inter. I've got to be honest, James. Champions League, I think it was their first loss at home since September 22, if I'm right. And it was kind of just a meek surrender. Mo Salah, irony, would have taken the penalty if he was on the pitch and not in a gym prison back in Liverpool. Persona non grata. Penalty was honestly like watching a doctor. Lance, if you've ever seen this, Lance a septic boil. Can't get that image out of your head now, can you? Game was plodding. It was uninspiring. The commentators actually, I crap you not, started to talk about some of the plot points of The Godfather. It was such a snooze. Isak is either playing through an injury or playing not to get injured. McAllister's worse. Curtis Jones was very, very good. Szoboszlai, I think, remains the player of the season. His circulatory system must be made entirely of rare earth minerals. He's really indefatigable. But a bit of a win, but a sad win, but a needed sad win, and Inter a whimper.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed by Inter because this time last week they put 5 past Venezia, sort of the people who just live to design really cool football shirts. Yep. Put 5 past them.
With a football club bolted on to their fashion line.
Pretty much. Yeah, kitted out by Drake, although how interested Drake is in this, I have no idea. And then they beat Como 4-0 at the weekend. So I was expecting big things from Inter. Those big things didn't come. In some respects, they lost Hakan Çalhanoğlu and Francesco Acerbi early on. But to flip this to Liverpool, if Inter lose players like that, you think, oh, actually, we can grow into this game and be inspired by it. You've got 2 strikers up front, Ekitike, Isak playing together for the first time. Acerbi's not there. Let's make the most of it. And they didn't really. And yeah, it was a really kind of soporific encounter. Although maybe Wirtz coming on and sort of wonderfully diving, like what, a second or 2 seconds after Alessandro Bastoni released his shirt. Maybe this is the beginning of the Florian Wirtz era. This is how it starts, with the crack of a shirt that has been pulled and released. And yeah, they get their sort of okayish win.
Don't insinuate darkness against Florian Wirtz. He just feels gravity more than normal human beings. I do believe that, James. Any word you say now, by the way, I'm just trying to think. When you said Venezia, I was thinking, how would Wayne Gretzky say that word? Just like I'd say, Wayne Gretzky owns about 3/5 of my mind. He probably Venezia or something. Yeah. Venezia. He'd probably look at it, Venezia, and he'd say, Curacao. He'd land it beautifully. He just gets it. Reading. Be like Gretzky, a reader, kids. But we do have to talk about the Dark Knight, James. Poor Mo Salah, axed from the squad ahead of this one, brooding at home. We all know what he has on his mind. He's told us, word for word, quite calmly, to turn Jamie Carragher incandescent. But we still don't know what Liverpool's thinking. We still only have like vague sense of what Arne Slot's thinking. I think it's pretty clear he wants Mo to be the instigator of the apology, retain control. But Mo leaves for AFCON. The clock is ticking after the weekend's game against Brighton. And I'm wondering, what do Liverpool do here? Do they back a coach that they already have doubts about? You know what I mean? They're already getting the Xabi Alonso stencil ready for the office door, according to hints in this show. Do they drop the player, package him off? Do they give him a late resounding substitute appearance and a bit of a Viking funeral, aka packing him off to the Saudi League on a suddenly under-leveraged diminished fee in January? None of the options are really close to being wins here.
No, I think it was really interesting. We had Clarence Seedorf on Amazon in the UK, and Seedorf really pushed Liverpool's coach Arne Slot on this and basically said, look, who's going to take the initiative here? Are you going to initiate a meeting, or are you waiting for Mo Salah to initiate a meeting? And I think Slot was he was like, well, is it up to me? That sort of thing. And I think they have to have a meeting before the weekend. And regardless of whether he plays or not, I think they just need to clear the air before he goes to AFCON. They can't let it fester whilst he's there. In terms of where he goes, like, I honestly think if you've given the guy that contract in the summer, I think it becomes even difficult for Saudi to take him on. And, Mo clearly signed that contract because he wanted to stay, and I think he said that his daughter was really happy because she was still in school and that sort of thing. That will still be true. These family things actually matter a lot. That will still be true regardless of what happens over the next few weeks with Liverpool and at AFCON. So as much as I think Saudi Arabia and the Saudi Pro League would love to have a player of Mohamed Salah's symbolism in that region, I think it's still going to be pretty difficult for a Saudi team to do a deal.
Oh, Mo at Wrexham is going to be incredible if I'm catching what the drift you're pointing me towards. It's going to be beautiful. By the way, I do think this Mo moment, to pick up on a theme, it's a perfectly carved modern football moment, like a calculated outburst, leads to social media fury, which in turn turns into a firestorm of former Liverpool players turned pundits, kind of pouring, just pouring in to keep the wildfire burning, fermenting, stoking the emotion of fans who are all extremely online. I mean, we're seeing that is football. That circle that I've just the game is almost irrelevant in this moment.
Yeah, I think it takes me back to that Juan Malillo quote. Juan Malillo, who was assistant coach to Pep Guardiola at Man City a few years ago and had his own coaching career, but he said the garnish is eating the steak, and that is what is going on here. And also, like, when Mo made those comments whilst I was trying not to get bottled in the Phoenix Landing in Cambridge, Massachusetts, everyone was thinking, how's this going to go down in the dressing room? Is this going to divide the dressing room? It seems to have divided the Liverpool dressing room from 2004 to 2000. Carragher and Steven Gerrard often sort of different opinions on this.
Pee on your own, lads. Pee on your own. Remember, it's the only piece of advice I got for all of you. But this is a perfectly modern football moment where the game is so not about the game. And the emotionalism of it all is constantly 11. In fact, we're just constantly being attracted to anything that will get us into that furor or ecstasy with nothing in between. It is an incredible way for us all to live. Who would be a football fan? Let's talk about happiness quickly. Tottenham 3. Oh, Slavia Prague 0. Everything coming up Tottenham. Son Heung-min back at the club beaming. Spurs obliterated. A truly awful Slavia. Xavi Simons scored again. Tottenham fans got to leave their own home happy for the second time in 4 days. Please, sir, can I have more? I mean, I bet they don't know. I mean, it's the sign above Tottenham Stadium, home crap home. It's a little out of date.
Yeah, no, it really is. I mean, to our earlier point, this game, I must say, it felt pure Europa League. It did not feel it had any space or any right to be in the Champions League. Take nothing away from Spurs, the current Europa League holders. But if we'd seen them play Slavia Prague and beat them by this scoreline this time last year, when they were in that competition, you'd be like, yeah, that feels about right. But this to me just sort of sums up the Champions League at the moment.
As did Atalanta 2, Chelsea 1. All of a sudden, it's 4 games without a win for Chelsea. I mean, beating Barcelona was probably the worst thing they did. Peaking in the season too soon. They're placed in the top 8 of the Champions League. At risk, ... question mark. Chelsea have got pathos, which means they face David Luiz, the ghost of curly Christmas past. And then Napoli away, which is not good, Bob. In other games, Jules Koundé's 2 headers in 3 minutes helped Barcelona fight back, escape Eintracht Frankfurt's challenge in a very feisty game on the field and off it at the new camp. The Champions League, it's great to see it back there. That machine known as Bayern Munich exploded for 3 goals in 12 second half minutes to come from behind themselves against Sporting Lisbon. Teenage heartthrob Lennart Karl, the youngest player ever to score in 3 consecutive Champions League games at age just 17 years and 90 days. Dude honestly looks 28, James. And Jonathan Tah got the Bundesliga leaders a comeback win. And before we get to your burning questions, to close this out, just a moment to tell you today is the last chance to do your holiday shopping and make sure that your Men in Blazers crap, your suboptimal fare arrives on time. Head to shop.meninblazers.com. That's shop.meninblazers.com. It's a lot of dots now for all those merch essentials like our Soccer's Coming Home line. Thank you for your kind words. It even looked good on me. Not, my modeling days, normally a hand model, but Rory Smith, by God, he looked like he looked like one of Marvin Gaye's love songs in human form. Our limited edition red, white, and blue kits designed and provided by our good friends at New Balance. Stunningly beautiful to get you ready for all the action next summer on home soil. But to your questions here on YouTube Live, just scan the QR code top left. Tony will bring you on. Smash the like button. By the way, at Gavin the Goliath says, Rog in a Gordon wig, please. I'll do it if Everton get to the Champions League, which I think we're going to. I'm pretty sure we're going to. Everyone does. It's just like the cycle of life. But here's the callers. Let's dive on in and bring up, first of all, the very patient JC. Tell us where you are, JC, and what question have you got for the great James? JC is awesome. Are you there, baby?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. Where are you, you king?
I'm from Nicaragua.
Are you in Nicaragua now?
Yeah.
God bless. Where about in Nicaragua?
Managua, so the capital.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What do we eat when we come to Nicaragua? What's the best thing that we should be dining on?
There's the pretty typical dish is just like a steak, fried plantains, and some rice and beans. I think that'll get you there. That'll get you well.
All that garnish and no steak makes James Horncastle a dull boy. What is your question for the mighty Horny?
Well, I think Bernardo Silva is missing next game, which conveniently is Bodo Glimt in the middle of winter. Do you think is that deliberate in your opinion, or?
You're accusing him of a kind of Sergio Ramos style.
I don't want to put anything out there, but it's not the best look for him.
You think there's not a lot of meat on those Bernardo bones? Is that what you're saying? He don't do well in Arctic conditions. Raw.
Very Portugal-esque, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's Rory Smith has famously never been to Glimt. We always remind him of this.
We always talk about going. I've got to tell you, right? We have talked, we've planned, we've tried to find the window. And James, you now have to come. I've got to say, I can only speak for myself. I don't think there's anywhere I would rather right now in Europe watch a game. But Ronaldo Silva probably feels opposite.
No, I can't. I mean, Rory wrote the piece about Bodo Glimt about 6 years ago, but has never been. So everybody who goes always reminds him that he's never been. To be fair, maybe he's just doing a Bernardo Silva. So, I mean, look, given the fixture pile-up, given playing in those conditions, which you mentioned, and it's not just the conditions and it being cold, you are playing on a 3D pitch where you have to wear different cleats. The ball bounces differently. And also something that I was told when Juventus went to play there was that they blow air onto the pitch before the game in order to sort of help heat the pitch and to kind of help thaw it out. And that can make breathing really difficult when you're playing in the first 10 or 15 minutes. It's like almost playing at altitude in La Paz or something like that. So, it's awkward.
The other thing is, for these footballers, when you speak to footballers, like for me to go to Bodo Glimt, I would love it. I wonder whether they eat reindeer, whether they I mean, genuinely, going to Iceland to make a film about them before the 2000s, eating puffin was probably one of the highlights of my year. It's like an exotic, it's intrepid, it's a thing of wonder. When you're a footballer, you kind of see the inside of a hotel room. You speak to footballers like, what was it like when you went? And they're just like everywhere, hotel room, training pitch,
airport.
Plane, airport. So it's like, I think, JC, even if it wasn't Bernardo Silva's intention, I think you've made the case as to why it was probably one of the smartest things in the world. At James Wilson Runs in the chat says, quick Google for plantains near me. Yes, get in there. And thank you, JC from Nicaragua. You are now our whole Nicaragua correspondent. Not to put a lot of pressure on you, but you are our leading expert. But let us go. We'll take two more tonight. One from the great Mike. Tell us where you are, Mike. Unmute and tell us what question you've got for the Mighty Horny.
Hey, Raj. Hey, James. I'm in beautiful, dark Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, that's a gorgeous part. That's an exotic part of the world in its own right. What would we eat if we were in Worcester, Mass, Mike?
Oh, gosh. I would take you to Coney Island hot dogs or Hot Dog Annie's in the town over, or I would take you to the beautiful Miss Worcester Diner for some delicious hollow French toast, Raj.
Oh my God, I can imagine going in there and saying, do you have a t-shirt at the Miss Worcester Diner? Because it sounds so amazing. They'd be like, nope. But I love the idea of I'm writing this down as you speak, and we will be there. We will dine with you, Mike. We'll put that on our list of GFOP lunches to come with James and Rog. We were just there. We could have hit it. We'll hit it next time, I promise. What question have you got for the King of Horn?
Well, gentlemen, after today's brilliant performance by the Gunners, and I sit here in my Mesut Ozil jersey that I just picked up from Paris, France the other day, I'm curious your perspectives, given the depth Arsenal has, with all the injuries we're still trying to manage here and the impending Christmas time fixtures, including the mighty Everton, the visit at the Big Dick. I'm curious what you both believe is a successful holiday fixture, points or just overall performance from the Gunners, given the amount of games in such a short window coming up.
What a great question. Let me tell you, James, before you answer this question, obviously Wolves visiting Arsenal, a very, very Premier League scriptwriters showing leniency, generosity, and warmth towards Arsenal in this moment. Many would say they're doing it again in their next game, giving them 3 points against Everton. There's then that Arsenal Crystal Palace quarterfinal in the Carabao. Arsenal Brighton, December 27th. Arsenal Aston Villa, 2 electric boogaloo on December the 30th. And then an agonising win at Bournemouth to wrap up the period January 3rd. And then they jam right into hosting Liverpool. So when you look at that run and you think about it, there's definitely, let's just say, there's points to be won early doors there, James.
Yeah, I mean, 4 of those first 5 games are at the Emirates. So, you know, that has to be, I think, a big advantage, really. And yeah, I think Arsenal have coped pretty well with their injuries so far. A lot of people didn't even realize, for example, during the period where they had Gabriel out, Odegaard out, Gyökeres out as well, and some of those players have come out just as other players have come back in. I would say, like, the games I would be worried about is that the end of December and the beginning of January. Arsenal Villa, Bournemouth Arsenal, Arsenal Liverpool. I think that is a really, really tough week for the Gooners. So yeah, I would be looking to get 12 points. Or I think you have to get full points from the Wolves, the Everton, and the Brighton game, and then hopefully you'll have seen a slightly inconsistent City maybe drop some points in the meantime. City, let's not forget, still without Rodri, which is kind of frightening, because if Rodri comes back and he's able to put a run of games together and play to his best, then that would have me worried.
Can I ask you, James? I mean, it is fascinating. We spent the first 10 weeks of the season marveling at Arsenal's squad depth, that this was the season. This was, you know, the lessons learned, the attrition, the agonizing, you know, to fall off when they'd lost Odegaard in seasons past. It was like death to them. You know, if they lost Saka, the end of goals. If they lost, this was the season they came back with a whole Marvel comic universe of talent. It seemed like to have infinite depth, like one of those Instagram posts where people drop a rock into the biggest hole on earth and it takes forever for you to hear the noise of it actually hitting the earth. We've hit the earth pretty quickly. I mean, which is it a sign about how Arsenal train? Is it the intensity? Is it bad luck? Is it just modern football? When you're good at it, just this fixture list, the ridiculousness of the pace, what now passes as the norm, essentially games every 3 or 4 days. The human body cannot compete. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I think the Premier League is completely bonkers. It seems to just ignore a lot of what we know about what the body can and cannot do. And if you look at around the other leagues in Europe, I mean, you know, where PSG play in Liga, a lot of people focus on the fact PSG, loads of money, Qatari backed, but it probably does help that their league has been downsized from 20 to 18 teams, that they got rid of the Coupe de la Ligue. So they just have one cup competition instead of 2. And instead in the Premier League, you know, it's 20 teams. It's a more competitive league, 2 cup competitions, Champions League as well. And yeah, it is pure attrition. But I think these players will have learned how to manage their bodies better from last year as well. I think we mentioned tonight, Noni Madueke and Martinelli, guys coming off the bench, impact players. Trossard, who seems to be
the clutch player of the season.
Exactly, just like someone who is maybe no longer undervalued or underrated, but someone who, these guys, those 3, they keep chipping in with important goals. They probably make Arsenal's depth feel a lot deeper than it actually is, even though Arsenal's depth is very deep. So it's
in praise of orifices. But let us end this show. And by the way, I wish you joy, Arsenal fans. I really, really do. I will say, if Arsenal over the Christmas period just face an attritional, existential nosedive, humanly, Never mind as a football fan. That would be agonizing for me if like we can turn around to Arsenal and just laugh at them and say bottlers once again. I think humanly it is so devastating compared to the upside of them inspiring the hell out of us, dusting themselves off the floor 3 times and going on to win there and live their dreams. I think the delta there is so unbelievable. But let us end with the Arsenal fan who so often ends our show after Arsenal European nights. It's the great Josh Youngerman. Beautiful, beautiful Josh. Remind us where you're from and what's your question?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Hey, give a food recommendation to the great James Horncastle for when he's next in the great Brooklyn borough.
Probably. Oh God, you put me on the spot here. Let's see.
Where could I
Emily's
get
Pizza. Emily's Pizza.
Emily's Pizza.
Googling that while you ask your question, Youngerman. Fire away.
All right. So I have a theory here, and I just wanted to ask you really quickly. So you're talking about Mo Salah, right? The options are limited, especially with his family being in Liverpool. What about Mo Salah to Everton?
Say more, because we're often spending that kind of money on a weekly salary. We could be interested in it. Oh, I'm looking at Emily's Pizza. Even the burgers look legit. Oh my God. Do yourself a favor. If you're feeling low in life, look at the Emily's. Even the website is utterly stunning. I love this place. I'm going to try this place. Josh Youngerman coming up with the bangers. Mo Salah to Everton. Well, you understand the freaking mentality, Horny, better than I do, being a Roma fan. I mean, we love the expensive, glam, aging, brand name player. The Freakins, Roma, Everton, we love them on loan, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. You sort of Romelu Lukaku, who is on loan from Chelsea to Roma, Paulo Dybala, who they signed from Juventus as well. Obviously, Grillo. Grillo being the first one in that kind of trend at Everton. I mean, Rog, how would you feel about Mo Salah sort of pulling on the toffee blue?
How would I feel? I'd feel magnificent. I mean, I feel utterly, I'd have no qualms about it whatsoever. This is so ridiculous. This is like you saying to me, how would you feel if you were named QB1 for the Chicago Bears? This is so ridiculous in its very notion. I mean, I've come to know Mo, I would say a little bit. I think he's been on the show 7 times. I've really enjoyed the way his mind works. He's a deeply curious human being. I mean, he's made no qualms about it. This is what's like so ridiculous to me about this whole Mo-gate thing, Horny. He's made it very clear he's a very proud man, constantly. He's a very focused on Mo human being. Strikers have to be elite strikers. Oh, show me a lovely human being, an empathetic elite striker. I mean, of all the positions, I mean, you do just have to think about yourself consistently, and not just on the field. And Mo lives at the gym, the food, the sleep. The elite striker's life is utterly selfish. This Mo moment, the most utterly selfish Mo, that's who he is in every regard. But I've come to be quite fond of him. I've learned a lot from him. And bloody hell, I'd say, obviously be behind Tierno, Barry in the depth chart. And I think he'd probably Beto or Mo. It's a tough one to call, Horny, but he'd be at least 3rd string for our boys. And so I think he'd be a good pickup.
Yeah, if you make Conference League next year and you decide to make this loan permanent, maybe he makes the Conference League squad for Moyes' boys.
Where does he go? I mean, genuinely, in terms of the options, with that albatross of a salary.
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, he is the kind of player that would play again in the Premier League out of spite, isn't he? He's not one of those guys that. By the way, we're seeing the KDB-ification of Salah, but in really fast motion. KDB, the giant of the game, not wanted anymore, clearly exited out. I mean, the same. This is just. I think this is going to happen more and more in modern football, James. That like classic, legendary footballers are no longer going to be given the fine farewell. They're just going to be completely shunted off stage cruelly, and they're going to be gone from hero to human darkness like this. But what options does he have right now?
Well, I mean, I think we've got an article about this in the Athletic tomorrow, but like it's not as many as you think. I think it is purely based around the Saudi Pro League, because if you think about it, you know, at Real Madrid, you know, they're not going to be moving for anyone in January. They've already got too many players in those positions. Barcelona, because the financial situation they're in, absolutely can't do anything. PSG have moved away from signing star players like that, and have Desiree Doué, Barcola, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, all those players. Sonny Mayulu started up front for them tonight. Italy and Germany just can't afford players like Mo Salah. And so, you know, it's Saudi Pro League, or it's staying within the Premier League.
Or take a pay cut to fulfill a childhood dream of playing for Bruce Arena at San Jose in MLS. Josh Youngerman, are you still there? You're not there. Would you? I'd love to know.
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm still there. I'm still here.
In all seriousness, Mo is the kind of person I'm betting who would be like, you know, sod this. I'm not going to play in another team in the Premier League. There's like a Robin van Persie nature to him. Would you take him at Arsenal? You know, like we need a great striker to put ourselves over the top.
I mean, you know, he can come on, you know, after Martinelli as like our third or fourth depth chart option. But I was always thinking like Italy or something, but I don't know. I don't know if the Italian teams could afford him.
Yeah, Roma 2 Electric Boogaloo. He's back, lads, and better than ever. This has been the fan fiction part. Obviously, he's not coming to Arsenal. Obviously, sadly, wondrously, he's not coming to warm the bench at Everton. Third string it coming after our lads have done a shift. I will say it's humanly bloody sad to watch this perfectly modern football moment go down. And I just hope somebody, God bless, maybe Verge in that locker room, can come in with some sense and some calm. There's an old word, Eastern European word, Brugge, which is when two people have had an argument, normally in a family, and it's such a heated and it's so emotionally laden, no one can ever kind of like hail or rational or negotiate out. And when you say, you know, are you going to speak? No, we got Brugge. I don't speak to that one. And it does feel
holiday season.
It does feel, James, as if like, you know, Arna not quite in control here. Brugge, it really is. It's Brugge level in every single regard. Modern translation, I believe, is a beef. Yeah, a beef on the streets. That's so true in every regard. Thank you to everyone tonight. The football was the arguments not bad, and I guess that's ultimately why we watch football in this moment. We've got a massive double release day on Men in Blazers tomorrow, starting tomorrow morning. The conversation that we had this morning with our friend Tyler Adams, in which he talked quite candidly, I found it really beautiful actually, about the World Cup draw. We also talk about his 40-yard wonder strike. And then tomorrow afternoon, another legend of American football, the quite remarkably quirky and very interesting US men's national team 2014 coach Jurgen Klinsmann comes on and talks about some similar subjects. I learned so much from both conversations. I can't wait for both of these to drop and be in your life. They'll be on our YouTube. They'll be in our pod feed. James, big love. I'm desperately trying to get you to move over to New York. I've got a feeling you're going to resist because you're like proper Boston at this point. Sweatshirt, hat purchased, the whole Boston club shop, baby. But thank you.
My pleasure.
Until next time, GFOPs, let's never take a minute of watching football together for granted. Big love, courage.